Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of the Enhancing Services for Runaway and Homeless Victims of Youth Trafficking Act and yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized for such time as you may consume.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Human trafficking is not just a concern in foreign countries. It's happening right here in the United States and many times in our own backyards. In Michigan, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has referred more than 13,000 cyber tip line reports of suspected child abuse, child sexual exploitation to law enforcement. Last Congress, I hosted a series of human trafficking forums in my district which brought together county prosecutors, sheriffs, the state police, and members of the Southern Michigan Task Force on Human Trafficking to discuss how our community is dealing with these heinous crimes and hear feedback on what additional actions Congress can take to help local law enforcement combat trafficking. One of the things I heard at my district roundtables is the need for improved resources for victims' advocacy and support, especially for youth victims and at-risk youth. Federal and state officials, law enforcement, the courts, all of us have a moral obligation to eradicate trafficking and support its victims. It will take close coordination between all stakeholders to achieve the dual goals of ending the human trafficking epidemic and assisting the victims. That's why I'm an original co-sponsor of H.R. 468, the Enhancing Services for Runaway and Homeless Victims of Youth Trafficking Act. This legislation will help better serve our most vulnerable youth who are victims of extreme trafficking. This legislation amends the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act to use existing grant resources to train staff on the effects of human trafficking in runaway and homeless youth victims, and for developing statewide strategies to reach such youth. It also allows the Secretary to utilize the existing street outreach program to provide street-based services for runaway and homeless youth who are victims of trafficking. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank my Congressman Joe Heck for his leadership on this bill, as well as the Education and Workforce Committee Chairman, Mr. Klein, and the Ranking Member, Mr. Scott, for their work on moving this legislation forward. Our nation's runaway and homeless youth deserve access to services that will help them escape a life of crime, abuse, and neglect. Passing this simple fix to the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act will help ensure that those suffering from the trauma of these deplorable crimes will have access to the care and support they need. I urge my colleagues to vote for H.R. 468. I reserve the balance of my time.